What's up, everybody? We are in a new episode of Lucky Day. Today, I have the pleasure of being with Julia Lang. She is a serial entrepreneur. She is from Tanzanian and German descent. Actually, I've been following her for over 10 years now. And she's the founder of a big marketing agency. Julia, welcome.
This is such a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me. I know we've been talking about this the past couple of months.
Yeah.
So I'm happy we're finally coming together.
We have friends in common. I know a girl named Elena Galuga. She was really into fashion school. And I used to see her with you all the time. You used to hang out. And I was like, wow, they really have style. You were really into fashion even back then. Can you tell us really briefly about your love for fashion and for brands?
Yeah, so Elena, I know her because we're from the same hometown, Nuremberg. It's a small town in Germany. And I think I started my blog in 2009. And I moved to London in 2010. And I was like shooting my outfits every single day. Like it wasn't something which I just came across in the past 3, 4, 5 years. It's been something that I've always been doing.
What made you go from knowing how to dress to creating your marketing agency?
I think that the dressing part is just something within me. My dad is like super like aesthetically, he does interior, he dresses like so beautifully.
Oh, yeah?
So
Dapper?
Yeah, no, and also just like himself, he has like his own unique, sense. And in my aunts, his 2 sisters also, one was a very successful fashion buyer, so it's just this within. And then I graduated a bachelor in trade and commerce. So the business side was always very, very, very big. I don't come from like a wealthy background, but I wanted to have like a small country in Germany. I wanted to have my own 3D Louis Vuitton bag, and I wanted to have Christian Louis Vuittons, like with 15 years old from a small town where like people, have like $50 a month. So I made sure like going to university and also working at Burger King Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Nice. Burger Kings.
Those things. So I always had like this hustler spirit,
Yeah.
And a question of finding my niche, and I always felt that New York would be great, but people thought I'm nuts. When I thought like, I want to move to New York, I want to have like one of the biggest companies, they were like, what is this girl talking about?
Yeah, I know.
Delusional, but it's a purpose, and I don't think like life is so short. I don't think like no dream or no goal is unachievable.
Yeah.
A lot of people, or most people, might not be able to share that vision with you or even like see the path. But if you really see it and believe in it, purpose, you have to go after it.
Some people just don't get it, and they only see the result. You know what I mean?
I sacrificed like what you just said with the style and the business component. I sacrificed my personal life and like vacations for so many years when I lived in Berlin in the year 2012 to 2015. I never had a vacation. I would always take my travel and my money, and I would travel to all the fashion weeks. Sometimes I was in New York, London, Milan, Paris, twice, like in a row, by myself with 3 big suitcases. And I remember so well that people who I was close to at that time, they were like, Julia, what are you doing?
What are you doing?
Who do you think you are? What is going on? And I always said, like, but this is I know that I'm supposed to do this. And if you can't share the vision, because they were like going to Central Pay for a week on the beach, and I was always like doing my own thing, and they thought I'm like crazy. But now they also pick me up, and they're like, wow, you really had a vision, and you really like, you did what you had to do, and now we see where you at. So you did the right thing. But back then, nobody could really understand me. So it was a lonely path sometimes, and also a lot of like faith in God and in myself and my vision, because not many people shared that vision with me.
Yeah, and I feel like you were perseverant because a lot of people are not, and a lot of people are trying for like 6 months, a year. You've been trying for so long, and that's why you're here right now.
This shit is about longevity. Even where I am right now, and I do this since 10 years. Some people like you know my past, but some people who are just like on Instagram, they're like, oh, she's like getting success so quickly. No, I've been doing this since 10 years and I'm not anywhere close where I want to be. So this is a lifelong journey. And anyone who wants to be successful, it's really about consistency, because there's no way that you won't be successful if you're really consistent. And I said that in other interviews. For some people, it happens quickly. Bless them, that's beautiful. Others, it takes 5, 10, 15 years. So yeah, consistency is really key.
It's key. It's key. You were born in Tanzania, Africa. How did it affect your way of life right now and your vision and your creativity? Did it affect the way you think today?
I think it comes with the territory. I was so blessed that my parents, for me, they were visionaries back then, because they went in the 80s together as a young couple to Tanzania, East Africa, and they really just went there to help. They went deep into the slums and were looking for handicapped people who could need treatment, and they took them out and built a center, and they wanted to stay there for a long period of their life, 10 years plus. And I was born there, and I stayed until I was 5 years old, my brother as well. And to me, it's so crucial and so beautiful, and really shapes who I am. And I learned so many lessons, and it's just a beautiful thing, because it taught me empathy, and it taught me to be open, and it gave me a different input rather than just being in Germany. And yeah, I never felt, to be honest, I never felt like I'm 100% German. I don't think that's my nationality, and I'm white, but I grew up with
Yeah, you are white. Your skin color is white. You were born in Tanzania. You lived there for many years. You speak the language. So you are Tanzanian by heart and by living, but also German. So that's...
My soul is definitely not German. Definitely. And I feel like a lot of people notice that about my surrounding. I don't have the typical Caucasian, whatever you want. I have to be careful with terms surrounding, because I don't really can identify myself with this kind of cultural point of view often.
Right before the COVID, how was the state of fashion?
It's so hard for me to look back, because I feel like so much has changed in those couple of months. But if you really want to go before COVID, I only want to talk a little bit about it, because I feel like it's so outdated and we moved on. But fashion was super, super fast. Even for myself, I've never traveled as much. I feel like the past 2 years, every other week I've been in a different state or different country, or it's been so fast, because then there was a lounge, and then this fashion week, and then men's and women's, and this event, and this year, and this project. So it was so fast, and I felt like it created a lot of waste, and I don't know if it was sustainable enough to actually go for a longer term. So yeah, it was very fast paced. That's what I can probably say.
So now the COVID happened. In your point of view, what have changed for you, business-wise, vision-wise? I know we always have a vision, a long-term vision, but what adjustment did you have to do to keep working with your clients, because you have really, really high-profile client? And what did you have to change in your everyday routine to keep working and while being quarantined?
Yeah, I mean, that's a very deep question, because so much has shifted. I feel like we're in a new world, to be honest. When we first started talking about recording this podcast early on during lockdown, I feel like every week it's adjusting and something new is happening. There's so many ways that now I see my business and then the industry and life in a completely different way, because my agency over the past 10 years, other than the digital part, which I was driving a little bit away because so many people started doing it in a low quality, and I couldn't compete with it anymore, because I have a way higher vision. So I was let them do it, and I moved on to something else. I was providing, or actually producing, experiences high profile. I would introduce people from the US into the Europe market, putting them into all the front rows, Milan, London, and Paris, or Dubai. So the XP, any high profile event which would create momentum for my clients, which are athletes, singers, rappers, models, like any category, right? I would take them, and it would always create a huge amount of relevancy and momentum for them. And that part has completely stopped, because right now, even to be honest, when I heard that in Paris, Women's Fashion Week is going to take place in September, I feel it's completely rushed. I feel like it's completely unnecessary and out of place this year, because we are not ready, and a lot of like the US won't even be able to travel, and it just makes no sense. So yeah. I understand that Paris wants to drive the tourism back, I guess, but it's not the time and place right now. And then I just tried, my team and myself, we tried to shift and try to see where the journey could go to, and to make it like a huge impact for our world, meaning it has to be like a sustainable journey, a journey that works long term. And we are, I mean, you can talk about it later on too, we are about to launch our own unisex lifestyle.
We're going to talk about it too, yeah.
And it's just, you know, it's also a beautiful past, because if I wouldn't have all these contacts, because now I'm also able to, once I launch, to also dictate what media is like promoting my launch, what talent is wearing my pieces first. And that's also because of all these, you know, the whole past also led to that.
Yeah, that's really interesting. So what you're saying is that you can't do real life experience right now because of COVID and because of you know, all, you know, like everything is shut down and stuff. Here actually in Paris, there's stuff you still can do, but many things you can't do. That's why I think that Fashion Week might not be a good idea, even in Paris. Okay, so what are the things that you actually can do? Because you said that you were stopping the digital. Isn't it like possible to come back to it for a moment while the other part is not active? If no one can travel, yeah.
Sure, but it's also a matter of, do we want to do it? And like, I feel like we've been doing it. You know, I was one of the first to launch like a huge like digital platform for one of the biggest retailers in Germany in 2012. And I've been doing it for so many years, and it's actually a lot, because you have to be hands-on every single day. There's Christmas, social media never stops.
Yeah,
so
it doesn't.
Competition got so big that people would do it for like the low. And I can't do that. So then it's also critical, because so many people like were experts out of the blue and charged like, I don't know, a tenth of what we charge, because we have like the whole service. And it became competitive that I almost bowed out gracefully.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah, of course, I mean, if there's like a great potential, of course, like we are, I would say, one of the best in the market to do digital branding. Everything included, the strategy, the content, the engagement, like everything. So if there's an opportunity, I'm more than happy, but right now I don't really see it.
Okay, I got a question about scaling, because I know a lot of people here, a lot of, you know, like people from the startup world who are all about scaling their business. Scaling means you are two people, they find something to be able to work on like 500 clients, but still manage to be only two people. What do you think about, you know, automating stuff for your clients? You don't do that because your clients are really top notch?
Like, we work so hand in hand and on such a trust base, and I can't have even the tiniest mistake. So I would never be able to sleep if I would just do it on a bot or like automatic way. So our team, we're always so hands-on, and I feel like there's crisis management, and when this isn't good, and we have to immediately act. And our changing every single day, and there's like new trending hashtags, and then you see, oh, people are more online at this time, and then you have to adjust every single day. For me, trusting a mechanism was never really an option.
Okay, so you do everything by hand with your team. I mean, you adapt. It's like a 5-star hotel for brands and for people. That what you're doing. Yeah.
Yeah. We put our all into this. It's like, if you work with us, you're a family, and this is your brand is our baby, and we want it to grow and to become the strongest player on earth, you know, basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so you have many clients. I'm gonna tell them. You have Balmain, you have Cartier, you have Canada Goose, and all these big brands. When is it gonna be too much for you to handle?
The beauty of my company is we have like people everywhere globally.
Okay. Wow. Nice.
My team. If I go to Germany, I already have my team. If I go to Japan, I already have my real team. So it's really a matter of there's never too much, because in the end of the day, we want to be one of the leaders in the industry, and it's just a matter of growing your company then.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I won't be able then to maneuver and navigate every client hands-on myself, but my team, we pride ourselves in like training and only hiring like the best of the best, like people who are, and ages is never like, it could be like very young people, but they're so hungry and like full of like, and that's exactly the people we need, self-motivated people. So there's like almost like an endless, you know, number of new clients, because the team then automatically grows endlessly too.
Okay, that's really cool. That's really cool. Let's talk about we had the COVID, and then while we were into the COVID, we had the George Floyd thing that happened, right? And I remember I was talking to you about it. I've read some pretty mean comments. I feel like you were one of the people who were kind of not talked about but judged, and because you are working with a lot of African Americans and stuff. Did you feel kind of attacked unnecessarily?
I think we actually had that conversation when it was actually that week, which was really hard for me, to be honest, but obviously not as hard as for anyone else at that point. And what I learned from it is just in that moment, emotions and like just feelings were like on a such high pedestal that I couldn't even take it personal in the end of the day, because it was just a projection of fear and emotions from other people my way, because I know in my heart, and people who know me, and I just know that what I'm trying to do was always to show empathy, love, and educate myself, that even myself, who was born in Africa and surrounds myself with all kinds of cultures, that even I have a huge white privilege, and I wanted to understand and learn and acknowledge. And it was hard for me when then I got criticism from people of color saying I'm not doing enough, or I'm just in it for this and that, which is totally out of place. But actually, you know, at that point, it was their emotions and it was what they felt. So they should be able to also share that. And as hard as it was in that moment for me, and I had a lot of conversations with my mom and with close friends, because it hit me really hard. And then the beauty is that, like, out of the blue, because I really shared it only with a close handful of people. You were one of them. But it hit me really hard. But then out of the blue, one day, people in the industry jumped in on those comments and were like, hold on. She is not like intimidated or like sleeping with any of her clients. She's actually creating a platform for people of color to also enter those arenas. And I didn't see it that way, but I was so grateful that like somebody or people just jumped in without me even asking them to do that. But yeah, and then it kind of like eased out. But you know,
to your point of view, what needs to change in the fashion industry in terms of the minorities and stuff? Because you were saying that you were showcasing, you were creating a door for people to get in this industry. What needs to change according to you, and what are you trying to actually help change?
I think this mission is never going to end. It's like a lifelong mission, and even after we are gone, it's going to continue. But I feel like diversity, which is already gladly happening a lot in the fashion industry, entertainment, and the beauty industry, which is beautiful to witness. not just color, but all kinds of body shapes and like different approaches, which is beautiful and so needed. And I don't know, I read or heard something that, for example, when it comes to Fashion Week, which, you know, is a very exclusive and small circle, and I read somewhere that only out of 100% people who attend Fashion Weeks, I can't really remember, but I think like 4% are people of color. It was mind-blowing for me, because all my clients are usually people of color, and I make sure that they're placed front row. But then I have like brands, honestly, like Celine, they would have never ever let any of my clients attend, because probably they were people of color. I saw that Celine did a campaign just like 2 weeks ago with actually a young black face, which I was really happy and surprised about, because it's so needed. I love Celine, especially Furby area, but right now I'm not sure if it's exactly on our current zeitgeist how they're still maneuvering, but I'm happy to see a change.
Yeah.
And fashion, I think it's just like a never-ending
battle.
process. Yeah, but there's so many doors to still kick in and to just, you know, make this normal.
And what did you think about all these companies, these fashion brands putting a black square on their Instagram, but not reflecting that diversity on their campaigns and stuff? I feel like many have tried to are trying to change right now. But what did you think about seeing all these black squares?
You know, I have a hard time with negativity. So I understand where a lot of that criticism came from, but then again, in that moment when they posted that black square, it was still a sign of solidarity. And no matter if, okay, yes, we might have never seen a black like cast or whatever, but at least there was some shift. So I rather want to push for positivity and want to see this as like the first tiny step into a much. Yes, it's a tiny step. We have to climb mountains, and this is like a tiny step, you know, out of the car. We still have to climb the mountain. But I always try to see the positivity, and at least they showed some sort of solidarity, even if it's just like a, you know, a tiny glimpse in the universe. But from there on, of course, if they don't stick to it, and if it's just like a performative action, then it's disgusting. I mean, what can I say?
I'm going to ask you a question. Because you are creating your own brand. I mean, did you notice that being dependent from brand is kind of dangerous in business? Because for us, we've been working with brands also. We have our own brands, and we've noticed that when other brands you work with are not doing good, it's always good to have your own brand. It's always good to have your own brand. Did you feel that way while you were into the COVID, or you didn't have this in mind?
Julia Lang has been a brand for the past 10 years. I get so many like campaigns.
Very true, very true.
My own social media, which are very well paid, or my agency is a brand too. But I depending, even my agency, even let's say we have like 10, 15, 20 clients at one time, of course you're some sort depending on them, but it's also your agency is your whole brand. I'm my own brand. But for me, it was like I would get DMs, you know, after I did my Business of Hype podcast with Hypebeast, a lot of people actually listened to my journey. And even before, I always got emails and DMs, even to Facebook times, or you should have your own line. You have such a good eye and you have such a good, and I was always, yeah, but I'm also a Virgo, I'm a perfectionist. Me starting my own line, and I also love menswear. So I wanted to do a men's and women's line with like in the first season a big runway show and like a, you know, investor, which is not really, you know, and I drifted away. I saw so many clothing lines, and most people started with a hoodie and t-shirt line, and I never wanted to do it. So for me it was just like I've been brainstorming for the past 3-4 years what I could actually bring.
Okay.
And I have very like a nice circle around me with successful brands in the industry from all kinds of genres. And I've been talking and meeting with them, and a lot of people pushed me. And then this year it was just, COVID helped because it took a lot of distraction away from my table. So I was really able to focus on my soon to be launched unisex lifestyle brand. We won't start with clothing. Eventually clothing will be a big part, but I'm super excited, and patience for me is my biggest thing I have to work on. So with COVID, everything was way slower because manufacturing was a quick, and then it's a brand new territory I'm stepping in, so I'm learning everything from scratch. But everything we are creating is going to be 3 categories. Unisex is from scratch.
Okay.
Is from the stones we are using that have healing powers to the scents we are creating, which are our own composition. And
you're into that spiritual kind of esotericism, all of these things?
Yes, but I feel like my entire life I've been spiritual, but I also feel like you don't even have to, my brand has nothing to do with its spiritual approach, I guess, yes, but what I'm trying to say, we are using green stones, for example, all found in nature with healing powers. We're not just using green glass stones, everything has a purpose to it. So it's if we sell a pendant with a green stone, 18 karat gold, and one of the stones, it's known for opening your heart chakra, and then you wear it on top of your heart. It's just beautiful, there's no harm in it. Even if you're not spiritual, it might still give you a nice, so
it's bringing something on top of a nice product also, and the brand is called Vert, right?
Yes,
it's called Vert. Vert, VEERT.
Yes.
In French, it means green. It's a really nice name.
Thank you.
And it's actually, if you go on her Instagram, it's Vert, right?
Yeah, it's Vert.
It's Vert. Go on her Instagram and you're gonna see everything is green. There is a very, very strong green vibe that I really like, and we can tell just from looking at the photos that the person who is behind it has a nice taste and is really focused on her thing, and I feel like you know what you're doing. I didn't know actually that it was going to be something else that fashion, but it's actually pretty smart and pretty cool because everybody now is into interior decor, some plants, some a lifestyle, and your brand is a lifestyle brand, right?
No, I appreciate what you just said. It's a nice observation. And I'm going to exclusively tell you what it's going to be, but it's going to be a much broader facet. But we had to decide what categories we want to launch with. Later on, we're going to have all kinds of home goods and interior pieces, travel goods, clothing, sneaker collaborations, that. It's endlessly. Be ready. But on our launch, hopefully this year sooner than later, because we've been pushing and pushing, but you also can't rush greatness.
Yeah.
Again, it's going to be unisex. It's all going to have some green topic around it, but we are launching with unisex jewelry, candles, and hand soap, all luxury based, the scents from scratch, and a very beautiful branding. So be ready.
Wow, that's really cool. I'm really into cologne right now. I'm really into a really French brand that is 400 years old. It's called Tridon. You should check that out if you don't know about it. But they are really into candles and stuff. They used to put candles in the Versailles Castle. They're really a big story about it. I'm gonna send it to you because you're on the right path.
Yeah, and back to the candles, we pride ourselves. We are one of the first companies who create a wax that is sustainable and it's not no dirty burn to it. So you will see all later on once we launch. But I pride myself to make the most sustainable approach, and we also 1% for the planet. We are business partners, meaning 1% of our yearly gross sales we give back to charity, which helps our environment. And all those things are so important before we even start the brand that we are already aligned with it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm very excited.
Oh, it's really cool to be sustainable, because right now we've seen so many things change and so many people think differently now. Everybody is like really into what do I drink, my water. I need to get my own bottle of water and stuff. So I feel like even for the soap, shampoo, soap, everything needs to be sustainable because we've seen what can happen. Like we've seen the fire in the States, in Australia and stuff. So I feel like what you're trying to do is, I would say, right on point, but luxury.
Yeah, and also back to what you just said completely, but then also have in mind, because some of my friends or like people ask me, so why would I pay a lot of money for a soap, but it's really high tier, and it's not just a soap, it's also kind of a design element you have in your house. So right now we spend so much time in your house. So for me, when I walk around my apartment, it fills my heart if I see like a nice, it doesn't need to be expensive, it doesn't need to be a lot, but something I resonate with, and it's just a beautiful design piece with purpose also.
Yeah, exactly. That's. I feel like it's gonna be the brands of the future have to have a purpose and have to be functional and have to look good. If you don't have one of the three, you might get forgotten.
Yes, and you
That's
need cosigns of like people like celebrities or whatever. You need people who believe it, who push it. It's unfortunate, but it's a reality. And that's what I'm for, because I've been in this industry so long. I have such a strong circle. So it comes almost without a question that I already have those high-powered people who believe in me and who will eventually wear it or promote it or push it. So it's a blessing. And
that's awesome. And
the journey.
what do you say? Sorry.
The journey is going to pay off. Like all those years of me like working hard and dedicating my life to my career was like paving the whole path.
Yeah. And would you say that your network is your net worth? I mean, is your network, like, because you talked about being co-signed and stuff, would you say to people that want to break into this industry that they need to have to get to know people first before trying to get out there?
I feel like everybody has their own journey, but it's obviously a big plus and a big pulsar you can like fall on. It helps, of course. Can it be done without? Maybe, but for me,
it's gonna take longer.
Longer or like a different approach. But it's definitely a big plus to have those cosigns and those people who are in power, who believe you, who know you, and who support you.
Okay, awesome. All right, so to end up with this really cool discussion, we want to know where we can find you if people who listen to this podcast don't know about you, because we have many French people also that might not know about you, but who want to follow you now. When can we find you, your website, and everything?
Yeah, this went by so quickly. I could talk to you for like more hours. But
right?
Simple with social media, just go to @JuliaLang, because all my accounts are in my bio, my soon-to-be launch brand and my agency. So @JuliaLang. And then my brand, it's going to be www.itswords.com for now. And yeah, you will see it everywhere once we launch. So there won't any way for you to miss it.
Yeah,
but,
nice.
And then you find everything from there.
When you launched, we're gonna wait like 3 to 6 months, and we do another episode to talk about the launch and what were the difficulties of launching a brand and how you managed to get things into people's hands and stuff.
Yeah, would love it. I mean, say less. I'm so ready.
All right, cool.
Again, thank you so much for having me. This was a beautiful talk, and thank you for your great questions. I can't wait to see this live.
Yeah, thank you very much for doing this podcast with us. We're going to keep following you, and we're going to keep talking about you to everybody.
Beautiful.
All right. See ya. Bye-bye. Bye.